In this video, I'm going to talk about my net decision-making framework and how that can help you be a better decision maker, not only in your personal finances, but also in life. So, what is the net decision-making framework? The best financial decisions use three key ingredients: numbers, emotions, and time. First, let's talk about the numbers. When you think about money, your mind tends to focus on the numbers first. How do I invest $1,000 or $1 million? How do I get the highest interest rate? How do I lower my taxes? However, that's not the most important part, but we'll get to that here in a minute. The main thing we need to talk about when it comes to numbers is how much money is at stake. In other words, how much is this particular decision worth? The difference between the best case scenario and the worst case scenario is the total potential cost of this decision. If it's a $1 decision, we probably don't need to put a ton of thought into it. If it's $1 million decision, you better take your time. For instance, if you're spending 10 hours trying to figure out how to get an extra 1% in your high yield savings account, but you only have $500 in there, that's a $5 decision. You're probably better off trying to figure out how to save an extra $5. You can always come back to this later, and you probably should. Next, you need to understand all the emotions and feelings involved in this decision. It may not seem important, but not all financial decisions are purely rational. In fact, the best decision by the numbers might not be the best thing for you personally. If you always make financial decisions based solely on the numbers, then you might end up with more money and still be miserable. On the other hand, a decision based purely on emotion will almost always be less desirable when we run the numbers. And that's no good either. You need to make sure that you understand how you'll feel with each decision. Also, think through the emotions of other people who are affected too. If you have a spouse, kids, or friends and family in the mix, you'll need to consider their feelings too. For example, when we got stationed at Fort Meade, we decided to rent rather than buy. We ran the numbers, and it would have taken over 2 years just to break even on the cost of interests and selling costs versus the equity in the home. We didn't plan on staying in Maryland, and we didn't plan on being long distance landlords. Then the housing market skyrocketed, and we actually missed out on the opportunity to build quite a bit of equity. However, we didn't know that was going to happen. We were also miserable in the first house we rented. So if we had bought that house, we would have felt trapped, and we would have been miserable for the whole time we were stationed at Fort Meade, a total of 6 years. Looking back on it now, even though we lost out on making some more money, I know that we made the right decision for us at the time. Plus, you just never know what expenses will pop up when you buy a house. When it comes to time, there are two types of time that I need you to think about. The first is how much time you have to make this decision, and the second is the overall time frame for this decision, or how long this decision will affect your life. Salesmen around the globe know that making you feel like time is running out is a powerful motivator. They're working against your natural tendency to avoid the fear of missing out, or FOMO. It's really powerful, but you can counteract that by giving yourself as much time as possible to decide. I recommend picking a specific day and time at least a day or two in the future. It's always best to sleep on. There are some instances where time is limited, but that's why having a system like this is so important. When you're pressed for time, you can still zoom out, run the numbers, solve for emotions, and make better decisions. Over time, you'll be able to do this quickly and be confident you made the right decision. The other type of time is the total time frame for this decision. How long will this decision affect your life? Is this a 6-month decision, 6 years, 60? Knowing the time frame helps you come back full circle and get a more accurate number and uncover the emotions you'll have wrapped up over the whole time period. Time feels different for somebody that's really excited about watching an investment grow for retirement versus somebody that's saving up to buy a car in a year. Time frame also helps determine what financial tools and techniques are available in this decision. The final part about this is bringing them all together. You want to get all of these out in the open so you don't have any surprises. Once you know exactly what everything costs, how much time you have to make this decision, how long this decision will affect your life, and all of the emotions involved, you're going to feel ready and confident to sort through everything. Each decision will be different, But you can lay everything out on the table, discuss with anyone else involved, and do research or engage with professionals for advice as needed. If you do this, you'll know you made the best decision you could. I want to caution you, though, that you can make a perfect decision today and it still may not work out. That's why we pay for insurance and keep an emergency fund. You can also make a terrible decision and get lucky, but that still doesn't mean it was a good decision. Betting it all on black is a bad plan regardless of the outcome. You want to make good financial decisions consistently over time. All your solid financial choices, compounded over time, will create massive success. We're not looking for a Hail Mary. We're not looking for a lucky investment or lottery win to magically solve all your problems. It's probably not going to happen anyway. And even if you win the lottery, you'll lose it all if you don't know how to make solid financial decisions. Before we wrap up, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter using the link in the description. All financial decisions involve three main variables: numbers, emotions, and time. If you fully understand each of these, you'll make much better financial decisions and be way more successful in your financial future.